I want like over long enough time, if you're thinking better thoughts than other people, then you're gonna be feeling better feelings and then acting better actions and having better results. It's so sad because you promise these vets like everything, this, that, and the world, and then you give them like nothing. Using it and wanting to make products with it was cool and kind of energizing at that moment in time. But at the back of one's head, when using AI, building stuff with artificial intelligence, I became more and more disillusioned with artificial intelligence because I think any rational person, when like looking at the situation objectively, like the low-hanging fruit, at least the first thought is like, this is going to replace me.
Hey everyone, this is Southern Fried Chat again. I'm here with Ebbie. How are you doing, man? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing? How are you doing, man?
Doing good. I wanted to ask you something. I've seen MD in your name. Are you actually a doctor?
Yeah.
That's amazing. What do you do?
So I'm a neurology resident in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and yeah. So anytime someone comes into the hospital for any neuro problem, they'll see my face or a colleague that's similar to me.
Wow, that's so that's interesting. So that's a brain doctor, I guess, right?
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
There's a difference between neurosurgeons, which are brain surgeons, and neurologists, which are brain
Gotcha.
doctors. Yeah.
Cool. Wow. That's awesome. So I just think that's cool we have another doctor. So I know you're a doctor. We have Saucy, who's a physical therapist. We have Jesse, who's an orthopedic surgeon. And then we also have Ilya, who's I think he's into a neuroscientist, I believe. So I think he's got a PhD, I think. It's just cool. I just think that's a cool thing to shout out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that SPX has I tweeted this the other day. It has a really high preponderance of doctors, a very high concentration. And I think on some level that speaks to the long-termist mindset of Aeons, and another level speaks to the desire for Aeons for human flourishing,
That makes
right?
sense.
Because it's like what, 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of med
Yeah.
school, 4 years of residency. That's 16 years before you're like able to practice by yourself, essentially. Um, you need to persist for a while.
So you're still in residency?
Yep, yep.
How's that? Is that
That
tough?
just yeah, yeah. Residency is tough for everybody in different ways. I think the amount of responsibility is part of the learning curve. For neurology, there are, emergency situations. Someone comes in with a stroke, someone comes in with a seizure, and they can't stop seizing. In those situations, then myself or my colleagues are the providers that are called in to analyze and come up with a diagnostic and treatment plan. And so, like, one's first code stroke or first, like, status epilepticus case is definitely heart racing. And then there's some folks where you can't actually kind of save them, right? And so you're dealing with people on their worst days, and sometimes those days are really bad, having end of life conversations,
Yeah, it's
seeing
rough.
folks in the ICU, that sort of thing.
Wow, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very heavy job. I think definitely great respect for people who do that. I couldn't
Well, thank
imagine.
you.
Don't think I could possibly do that. I would get too much. But yeah, that's awesome, dude. Um,
Well, thanks.
yeah, yeah. Well, to get back onto the main thing, I was just kind of curious about that because I think it's cool. Can you give us your crypto background?
Yeah, kind of like how I got into
Yeah,
crypto, I
just like
suppose.
yeah, like what year did you first buy your crypto coin? What got you into it? That sort of thing.
Hmm. I got into crypto. I first heard about crypto when I was in college. So like 2018. And I think at that point I probably bought like Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash or something.
Mm.
I know a friend who made uh like few $1,000s at that moment in time, but I didn't really understand what it was. Blockchain, oh my gosh, one of my friends, he literally sat me down and then showed me the Bitcoin chart on a logarithmic scale. And I don't know what Bitcoin was at that point, probably like under 10K or something.
Hmm.
And he was like, Ebb, we were sitting in, bruh, we're sitting in like the University of Minnesota library like computer lab, right? Like parties outside on like a Saturday or something. And he sits me down, pulls this up on this small screen, shows me the log chart, and he's like, this could get to $100,000. And I'm like, no way, no way. Because like at that point, the only stock or financial entity that I had seen it over like more than 10K was like Berkshire Hathaway or something. I was like, there's no way this could happen. And now we're sitting here and it's like, well, it happened. He was 100%
He was right.
right. Yeah. But so like I was paying somewhat attention to blockchain, didn't really dig too deeply into it. And then, Bitcoin began to become more mainstream. And then in college, that was when I kind of saw the light as far as understanding the how finance works, what the Federal Reserve is, what the stock market is, what inflation is, all of these sorts of things. At that moment in time, I resonated a lot with what Cardano was doing,
Interesting.
because I think at like the core, Charles Hoskinson says that blockchain, like he's in the business of selling systems. And when I look at how the blockchain ecosystem has developed, especially with the preponderance of stable coins,
Mhm.
I think that he's sort of right in like kind of the value prop is for folks in places that don't necessarily have the financial ecosystem in many ways.
Yep.
So I got into that for a little bit, but I still didn't really understand where the space was going. And so eventually, as I kind of looked at the altcoin space, I became more of a Bitcoin maxi than anything, like Bitcoin and ETH primarily, because those were the things that I felt had the most staying power.
Sure.
Um, and then I was kind of listening to, like, paying attention to, like, kind of Soul and the trenches or whatever. Then
Sure.
Murad's thesis, that video, like in uh, October or whatnot. When I saw it, it just clicked. I was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
like it because you know the because at that point in time, I was in San Francisco in med school, exploring technology, exploring artificial intelligence. I was one of the first people in my medical school to find out about ChatGPT when it was ChatGPT 3. And I was like, whoa, this is incredible.
Yes.
And then like using it and wanting to make products with it was cool and kind of energizing at that moment in time. But at the back of one's head, when using AI, building stuff with artificial intelligence, I became more and more disillusioned with artificial intelligence because I think any rational person, when like looking at the situation objectively, like the low-hanging fruit, at least the first thought is like, this is going to replace me, or
Sure.
this is going to replace humans. Um, and like the question for that and um, like the question about that and within the other context of inflation, of the Federal Reserve, of the political structure or whatnot, to me, nobody, even like amongst my professors, teachers, the intellectuals I looked up to, business people, nobody was able to really give me a straight answer and be like, no, this isn't going to replace you because of this, right? And I think at this point in time, fast forward, we're at a point where it's like, yes, it's white collar jobs. I was big into Andrew Yang when he came up, for example, but now it's like white collar jobs, like GGs, people that are like truckers or blue collar jobs, GGs, robotics, automation is coming. And so um, when I saw Murad's thesis, I was like, oh, yes, this makes sense because it's like what GME wanted to do, but better. I forgot to mention, like GameStop, big thing when I was in college. I was very excited and absolutely disgusted by what occurred.
Yeah.
Like Vlad Tenev from Robinhood, I cannot, I can't stomach looking at that guy. Like it's terrible. And like when you actually do digging into what's going on, I'm like, wait a second. So you're telling me that you're going to take all the data, sell it to the big guys so that they can front run me in this
Yeah.
free marketplace? No. What? And from that point I was like out and went to crypto and the rest is, I suppose, history.
Yeah, crypto's the only way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Although, and a lot of people are kind of I think being stupid about it. They're like, "Hey, he's making this layer 2 with Arbitrum and they're going to put stocks on it." It's going to be the same thing,
No.
people. So, they'll have
Yeah.
total control over that little side chain or whatever, so it's not good either.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's very much centralization to an in-group. It's George Carlin said it's one big club and you and we aren't in it, basically,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's tokenized stocks or whatnot, the the bait and switch. The bait is, financialization or like democratization of economic freedom, whatever buzzword you're going to use. But
Yeah.
the switch is like control grid.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah, was ChatGPT 3, was that the first public model? Is that was that the first one they made public?
Yeah, yes. The very first one I think was GPT-2,
Uh-huh.
but GPT-3 was also public. You could like make stuff on it if you use an API, and it had like a little kind of web page where you could type on it and like change the different characteristics. Like you could increase the context window, increase the forget the word. It's like the how creative it was and those sorts of things, kind of tweak it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it memed really hard at the end of 2022. Is what I remember. And I remember playing
Mm.
with it. I don't remember what number it was, but I remember playing with it. But back then it was like very. I remember you could get it to do weird shit. Like they would now it'd be like,
Yeah.
we're a robot, Kate, or whatever. We can't do this safety or whatever. And I remember
Yeah.
like within weeks it was already starting to do that. So it
Hmm.
was cool though. But I do remember discovering it, and it did blow my mind. I was like, okay, that's insane. I was like, I can get it to write a poem. Like that's so cool. I can get it to write a little song for me about my family get together. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily the best, but it's kind of interesting. Then I was like, okay, what if I started thinking like, what kind of weird shit can I do with it? So I told it to
Hmm.
pretend to be a Commodore 64 and be a command line, and I started like saying, go into this file, like you actually would on a Commodore, and you could do it, and it would like show you
Mm.
what it would actually show on an old computer. So then I was like, okay, this is insane. So
Yeah.
like this is crazy. It could do all this. Oh, the other thing I remember doing back then, I said simulate an AOL chat room, and it said, okay, there's Rockstar there. Like it had all these little usernames, and I just started like talking with them. It was just so fucking weird because
Yeah.
eventually it would hallucinate very quickly because it was early in it. But
Hmm.
I just remember it blew my mind. I definitely had like a little bit of a, I'll call it a manic moment in 2022. Like
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
crazy. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, no, actually, I mean, I told a manic moment is a good way because to describe it, because when you find out about it for the first time, you're like, oh my gosh, it can do all these things, and your mind starts racing, and you try to like test the limits and tell
Yeah.
all the people around you, like, yo, check this thing out.
My parents thought I was insane. They're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And now they see all these
Yeah.
videos and stuff. This is what I was trying to tell you. It's going to get even crazier.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. Like, this is a thing. So one of my favorite books is Principles by Ray Dalio.
Mm,
And in that book, he has a portion where he's talking about using AI at Bridgewater.
mm,
And he says that, like, at least in the book, he describes them using AI almost as like a check, like they do the
sure.
thinking and then the AI would do the thinking and then they'd compare answers or whatnot. And like when it first came out, that was essentially what folks were doing. And I would tell my friends, like, yo, you could you could just, it's like a bicycle for your mind, so to speak, or like a motorcycle. You could just go from point A to point B. And then, they found out and more people found out. And like you said, when we're talking about the future being even more, you know, even more fractal, even more fragmented as far as use cases goes, it's it's going to be incredible
Yeah.
in like the incredible in like maybe a dark way on like half of the population is incredible in a dark way, half of the population is like incredible in a great way, I would say.
My brother's a computer programmer. He said, "I know I'm going to be replaced, but I think it's going to be too cool. I don't really care anymore. It's cool. It's too cool not to be like, okay, whatever."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it gives them superpowers, man. Like for the non-technical folks can make apps now in like a weekend. Imagine what the technical folks can do with that
Yeah,
type of stuff.
it's
Yeah.
true. It's true. And what was the other thing? Um, I can't remember. Oh yeah, I remember. So I majored in math. That's what I got my bachelor's degree in. I got a master's in
Oh, cool.
economics. But
Nice.
with my math degree, we had like really hard proofs we had to do, like really,
Mm.
like super hard, like stuff. It's not like you would never imagine a computer could do it. You would think because they solve, they could do calculus and they could do algebra, like a computational type stuff, not like logical reasoning. So I remember
Hmm.
like, okay, let's try that with it back in 2022. Couldn't do it at
Mm.
all. It couldn't even add back then. And it was like
Mm.
it was kind of weird. I remember it couldn't
Yeah.
add right, and then
Right.
it was like you can do all this stuff, but you can't add. But
But you know, yeah, no math. You could not do math
no
on it.
math.
I was very disappointed. I was like, no, I can't trust it for the math stuff.
You'd think it would like hard program a calculator in there somewhere, but I guess they didn't.
Right.
You know
No,
what I mean?
no. Like, no, exactly, exactly. It's all like, guessing the next syllable
Right.
or like the next the next token based off
Yeah.
the preponderance of all human verbal or written thought. Yeah.
But now it can do math. But
Yep.
now it can do proofs, hardcore proofs. Like I gave it stuff
Yeah.
I remember doing in college, and I was like, "This is insane. It's over.
Right,
Like it's
right.
over."
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I saw Peter Thiel clip and he's like his intuition is like the math people are in more trouble than the language people. Yeah,
I agree
because
with that because the writing, you can tell the writing as soon as you read. At least I can. I mean, maybe not everybody can, but definitely when I you could see it because whenever you hear the way it'll write, it's like it'll be too many little gotchas. Do you know what I mean? Like whenever you're reading it,
yeah,
oh, it drives me nuts. I'm like, you used AI for that. I know you did. And as soon as I detect
yeah,
that, I can't read it. It just
yeah.
bothers me.
Right. I agree. I think that even if you don't consciously detect the AI, you can tell when you're reading AI. Like there's like a soullessness
Yes.
in it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's good for. I mean, I think it's cool. Like on X, they'll do like the summarizations of what's bubbling
Hmm.
up, on the side. I think that's awesome. But when you're a
Hmm.
human, you're presenting this information and you don't disclose this, the AI assisted you or something. I just
Yeah.
find it distasteful, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It is distasteful and it's also bad for you, I think. Like you want to do the work yourself. And those who don't do the work themselves are just going to kind of progressively lose the ability to do the work. I really think the motorcycle analogy is very apt because prior to this, it's almost like you were running from idea to idea, and you had to do the toiling yourself with proofreading and editing,
Yeah.
right? But if you just jump straight to what is like 90% of the way there, then you lose your chops. You lose it's like drinking smoothies versus eating vegetables. You lose the muscle. Yeah, yeah.
Makes
And I
total sense, yeah.
worry. Yeah, I worry about the kids and kind of the next generation losing that muscle, you know. And I think that's another reason why SPX is so interesting to me, like why it resonated so much. Because it's kind of like people have been throwing this word around like or this what's the it's like the ending of a word. This like it's like maxing, like looks maxing, soul maxing. Like I feel like SPX really is it's like a return to like life maxing, like all the people who want to be high agency individuals and want to really get after it, and like a pro-human sense of the word. I feel like they resonate with SPX, because the AI is very sterile. It's very clean, you know. And when you walk through the city, when you walk through parts of San Francisco, for example, there are places where it's like the sidewalks are glistening with like it's almost like they have like gold dust in the sidewalk, and you're like, wow, this is so cool. But at the same time, those same spots used to be filled with like more vibrancy, like the grunge, the day-to-day grunge of humans that were born, raised, all that type of stuff. And now they're no longer there, but the buildings are super nice and pretty.
Right.
And I think that with AI essentially allowing you to create, PhD level word stuffs
Yeah.
without having to work through that. It's the same thing.
Well, and I don't trust it either to be because I mean AI is not always right. Like that's another
It's
bad
not.
thing. Some people are like, ChatGPT did this what it said. It's like, dude, you gotta check that. It's not always right now.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think it ever
yeah,
will always be right, of course, but it's definitely not now. So yeah, the over reliance on it can be bad. It is very cool though. I mean, there's definitely
yeah.
times it's been very useful to me. Like I took a
Hmm.
picture of like a problem I was having in my house. To be honest, I just like took a picture of it. I was like, what I need to do here, and it just told me websites to use. So I'm not a very handy person. So I was like, oh, this is amazing.
Hmm.
So I think
Yeah,
it to me like where it's really good is it's like the best kind of search aggregator. It's like a better Google. It's probably
yeah,
the way where it shines the most right now. Probably.
yeah, yeah. I think I agree with you in like Google is helpful if I'm trying to like if I'm trying to find a good restaurant or something. I
Yeah.
want to actually look at the page and sift through it myself. But if I'm trying to do a specific task, like I have the outcome in my mind already, then Chat GPT, Claude, whatever will get me there. David Friedberg from the All In podcast said something. He's like, the the thought process is one more of an orchestrator than like a boots on the ground type. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me, you know.
I'm sure you get to use it a lot in your job probably. There's a there's a lot of
Yeah,
information. I'm sure it's really
yeah,
helpful.
it
Um,
is. It is like translating from English to different languages, super helpful for that. And there are certain companies that are primarily within the healthcare space that help one aggregate the up-to-date, um, you know, topics of the day within medicine. So it's cool for that as well. But you still need to be able to like read the primary literature,
right.
do flashcards so that it comes quick, right?
Yeah.
I think that gives patients and healthcare professionals more, what might say, more reassurance when it's
Yeah.
speaking to someone. You ask them a question, you're like, oh, it's this. Like, okay, you know your stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Have you ever heard of Epic Healthcare Systems?
Yeah, yeah. Epic is it's pretty big in like it's big in California, big in at least Dallas, other parts of Texas.
Yeah,
Why?
I work for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm IT for them.
That's funny.
So yeah, I work.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I lived in Wisconsin for a couple of years, and now I'm part of their official consulting arm. But I work in the billing side, so I don't work with clinical people too much. So,
Hmm.
anyways, yeah, the
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the healthcare administration side at least.
Right.
How
Yeah.
fun that
No,
is.
exactly. 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 And so I'm sure you know like the holy grail of like ambient listening rooms, right? Um, where one can, like a patient comes in, doctor asks them questions, the chart gets done on the back end, doctor like looks through it and makes sure everything's fine, goes on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't work with that stuff directly because I work on the
Hmm.
billing, but there's similar billing ideas too.
Hmm. What do you
Taking
mean by that?
taking insurance claims and then summarizing it for somebody to easily understand it and be able to
Yeah.
diagnose a problem. So there's lots of ways AI can help in all areas. Hopefully, it'll bring down administration costs, but
Yeah.
we're also
That's true.
operating at the speed of government, so that's an issue too.
Right, right.
So
And that's a place where I think that AI could democratize access to information, right? Like all the bills that are passed in Congress or whatever state legislator, being able to give folks the tools to sift through that information, highlight the pertinent stuff, and then
yes,
be able to, organize, I think is important. Same thing when you're a patient navigating the health insurance space.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and part of the problem is they don't want it that way. you know,
right,
so
right.
there's that. Like they like the bottlenecks. The insurance companies do. The government doesn't really
Hmm.
care. I mean, and they're oftentimes
No,
paid by the insurance. So yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity, but will it be allowed? Is my
right,
question. So
right. Yeah. The what would one might say like the track record isn't that does not give one a lot of hope, I would say.
yeah, but Epic is trying to implement AI wherever it can
Hmm.
at the moment.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely cool to see that happening. And there's another one that's more exciting, like on back end stuff, like
Hmm.
to write reports before you might have to write SQL code or really get into the nitty gritty of that. Now
Yeah.
they're enabling it much better for people who are not technical. You just go and say, I want it to do this, and then it'll just like write code for you,
Yeah.
and then you can just run a
Yeah.
report on the fly, which is really cool.
Right, right. It is cool. It is cool, but it is cool. And it goes back to what Murad said about moats, like the absence of moats, AI basically erasing all software moats. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Which is a big thing. I mean, what's it, Lindy effects, things that are just around for a long time and build up the network strength, I think are going to be super highly valued in the world we're going to. Um, because if everybody has, like their own little co-pilot that's able to perform, PhD, MD level task in any particular domain, why go with person A versus person B? On some level, you kind of if everybody has the same technical experience, technical both in the creation and possibly also the dispersion of the product and the marketing of it, then it's almost like a trust thing, which then brings me back to SPX.
yeah. That's a good. I did just have a random thought.
Hmm.
So I I was around when the internet was really coming into its own. You know, um, so Google really became a thing, and all the stuff it changed. But at the time, I was like, I was younger, I was a kid, so I don't
Hmm.
really know and we're also highly motivated individuals. You're a professional, I'm a professional. So we see these things as very exciting. Like we think about all the opportunities you could do with it. My point is, let's think about it like you're around and you're like your age back in 2002, and like Google's really
Yeah.
a thing. You might have got just as excited. You're like, oh, I can just like look up stuff and like get all this information so quickly. And Control F and find all this stuff like how we used to do things. And then you
Hmm.
might think like everybody will want to do this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, or how many people are actually going to act on it? You know what I mean? I just thought about that.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's so easy. Like we're thinking, like you could do so much with it. It'll be so easy. But I question if that's actually going to move the needle with people who actually want to do it, or it will still be the same
Yeah.
percentage, even though it would be easier for anybody to do stuff. Does that make
Oh no,
sense?
I think I completely follow. So I recently read the book The Sovereign Individual,
Oh, I need to read that.
and
I need to read that.
yeah, really good read, hugely recommended. The point why I bring up the sovereign individual is because in it, like one of the key theses is that the advent of the microprocessor and then the dissemination of the microprocessor directly influence the political structure by which folks, move throughout the world. And when you made like a group project, everybody's been in a group project where it's like, okay, we got to do this thing. Does everybody chip in, or does one person say like, okay, this is how we're going to do it? You do this, you do this, you do this, let's go. Right?
Yep.
By and large, it's the second, you know?
Uh-huh.
And
Oh, I know.
uh, right,
I was always the
right.
guy doing it, to be
Same
honest.
here,
It was
same here.
annoying.
Yeah, right, right. And those people, and it's like there is like if anybody can do anything, then on some level it's like a motivational and discipline difference,
Right.
right? And so that book argues that that eventually we're going to live in a world where individuals controlling one might say armies of different intelligences
Wow.
will be able to execute at a much higher rate than anybody else. And I think to your point, what that thought that came into your mind is essentially like pointing at that.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, and it could lead. I've said this before, and I think other people have said it too. I don't know where I heard it from originally. I definitely didn't come up with it, but the idea that it bifurcates even more. I think it's already kind of happening that way. Smart people are getting super smart, and it's even true in health. Healthy people are getting really, really, really healthy. Like people didn't look that healthy before. It was, you know what I
Hmm.
mean. So,
Hmm.
and then dumb people get dumber. And, don't try,
Hmm.
don't do anything. People are just watching phone all day. People could get
Yeah.
extremely unhealthy, like 800 pounds, who like Jabba the Hutt. No offense, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's insane that
Yeah.
you could even do that, and you can literally just
Hmm.
sit in your house and do nothing all day and order food. You can just live literally and do nothing. So it'll
Hmm.
probably just I think it's some bifurcating. Or
Right. Yeah. I agree with you. And that's why like I'm very much uh someone who advocates for high agency. Like it's never been easier than like it's never been easier for somebody to be able to take something, go from idea to execution because everybody is so distracted. But it's also never been harder to do that because there's so many other distractions, right? Like that's something Hormozy mentions, and I think it's very apt.
yeah, that makes total sense. Makes
Yeah.
total sense. Yeah, um this is really interesting. And let me get back to SPX a little bit.
Sure, sure,
It
sure.
was good. It was good. We can keep talking about
Yeah,
it. When did
yeah.
uh, when did you like really get into SPX? So you definitely discovered it in like October. But when did you
Hmm.
like start talking about it, posting about it, and get into it more?
I think like the couple months after, like I got into SPX, I found out about SPX initially, and then I was essentially a Bitcoin maxi, and then I did like a little Bitcoin SPX barbell thing for a few weeks. And I sat and I thought about it. I was like, well, like on a technical level, SPX is, well, one might say SPX is like levered Bitcoin. Like some might
You
promote
could
that.
definitely
But
make
then
that
I,
argument. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I like took a look at kind of my exposure and my life path and really what the point of all of this is. And I said to myself, I'm like, well, and then I like looked at the community and the mission, and I told myself, I'm like, well, there's probably a lot of folks that are similar to me or like me adjacent, but like very core from a discipline piece of things, and like probably a lot of folks that also don't like the S&P 500, a lot of folks that didn't like the GME thing, and I was just like the in the December time period, I said, you know what, I should probably rather than like 90-10, I should flip it. And so essentially now I'm like full ported on,
Amazing.
yeah, and it's it's really interesting because like you know I look at it, God willing, I'll do well, graduate residency, become an attendee, and all of that type of stuff. But my working years are ahead of me.
Right,
And I think for a lot of folks, their working years are ahead of them.
right.
And for someone like myself, who's very much, when again, the GME thing, that was ridiculous. That really removed the mask on what is going on.
Yep.
After I saw that, I said, no, no, this is not. I'm not. Why? What else am I going to do? I saw you had like Murad on recently, and he said like something similar. He's like, "Well, what are you going to do? Are you gonna do Forex? Are you gonna what? You're gonna give your money to BlackRock? Are you gonna put it in an ETF? Like, what are you gonna do? What? What? No, no." And we could talk about like all the different files or whatnot of he who shall not be named. It's like no way, no way.
Yeah.
So basically, like since December onward, I've been like full ported,
Amazing.
all in, and I haven't looked back. It's yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Uh, yeah. I think I've said this. I've said this before. I'm in a little bit of a different stage of life than you are. I think I'm
Mm,
a bit older, and I've been in my career for longer, and
yeah,
so um, and I have a wife and a kid and everything.
right,
So I don't go if I was in your stage of life, I would be all in for sure. Put
right,
it that way.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know,
It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer for someone in my stage in life.
yeah,
It doesn't make sense not to.
yeah, you
Like,
got to go
yeah,
for it. Like somebody said, I just went all in on it, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. And they said, have you done that? I'm like, I haven't done that. I don't think I will because of these reasons. But if in your
right.
stage of life, you're younger than me, it was somebody else, and I was like, I would do the same thing, and I don't blame you.
Yeah. And it's risk, and it's definitely, you have to manage your risk appropriately. I have I look at it like some say it's a risk, right? I'm like, sure, everything is risky. Life
Sure.
is risky.
Yep.
But it's not only I'm not only managing my risk, but I'm also managing my bloodline risk. Like I have siblings, I have parents, grandparents, managing all our risk. I'm the oldest. On some level, like I'm taking it on myself that I have enough SPX that like, I think I'll be fine because I trust this, right?
Sure.
Um, for then for everyone else, like I've let them know. Some have uh, got in with their own risk tolerance, and I
Right.
don't expect everybody to have the same uh, level of, let's say, risk tolerance that I do, right? But the point is that you just dollar cost average, you hold, and then that's it, and then you just wait, and you tell it, and it's like Bitcoin was supposed to be somewhat like of an accountability measure to the like fiscal spending and whatnot. But at this point, I think it's been co-opted on
Yeah.
on some level in a non-insignificant
I
level.
agree. I agree. We're very dependent on MicroStrategy. We're very dependent
Right,
on the big guys, and that
right,
I still think it's a good investment because they got money. I mean, it isn't. It doesn't mean it's a bad investment. It's just
right.
it's not. It's not the same asset that it was.
No, no, it's not. And when, I think like SPX is more pure. It's like back to the cypherpunk like ethos of Bitcoin in and of itself, right? And so like I don't think I'm not someone who's like, oh, you got to be full ported. I'm like, no, you understand what the mission is, and our goal is we're in a Hunger Games. I think that's what Kyle mentioned. One thing, he's like, it's a Hunger Games scenario. The point is to not give up.
Yeah.
That's it,
Dude,
and that's it.
the psyops right now are crazy. Oh my
Right.
gosh. I did not think they would be saying Bitcoin to zero again, but they
Yeah,
are. It's incredible. It's like I
yeah.
cannot believe this is happening. It's so funny.
I I have
So
blinders
funny.
on for this because it
I'm
doesn't
just
make any sense.
it's no it's ridiculous. It doesn't
Yeah,
I mean, and it's funny too. You have people who are like MicroStrategy to zero, but Bitcoin to Bitcoin will do well. And I'm like, if MicroStrategy goes to zero and they have to sell their Bitcoin, this day it's going to 2K, it's going to 5K. Like, so
yeah,
you also have people rooting for Bitcoin and hating on MicroStrategy too. which is just odd.
Right.
You just have all these factions, and I don't know what their games are. And
Yeah.
now we're called now Bitcoin's a pedo coin because of Epstein. I mean, the
Mm.
amount of bullshit that I've seen about crypto
Yeah.
the past 2 months is blowing my mind. But anyways, I
Right.
just laugh at it at this point.
Same here.
It's
Same
just
here.
crazy.
It is crazy. It doesn't make sense. I'm like first principles thinking. Charlie Munger said, I think it was Charlie, he said, show me your incentives, I'll show you your outcomes, right? The incentives are such that like Bitcoin is going to 1 million before it goes to zero
Yeah.
because governments can't stop spending. They can't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know who Simon Dixon is?
Yeah. Yeah. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah. I think like a mix between Simon Dixon and Professor Jiang right now. I'm trying to kind of gather different worldviews
Professor
of folks
Jiang's
who have,
amazing too.
yeah, exactly. And when I look at both of their perspectives, it just it just makes a lot of sense. We're in a position that unfortunately there's no incentive not to come out of. And like the only way is through. There's no reverse gear, unfortunately. Um, and because of that, it's like in if there's no reverse gear and there that if there's no reverse gear for the process of debasing the currency, right? What occurs? Well, everybody rushes to hard assets. Gold is a hard asset, but like governments, not even governments, people with guns can confiscate your gold and you can't move that gold super quickly, right? Like Bitcoin is digital gold, and folks might say no, it's not, and like say I'm like sure, put your money somewhere else. I don't
Yep.
like that's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. It's like a plant, and this isn't something that I've come up with. It's something that I saw in like a podcast a long time ago. Bitcoin is like a plant. It's not a carnivorous creature. Like hedge funds, Jane Street, those are carnivorous creatures.
Hmm.
Bitcoin is just there and it just grows.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world moves and Bitcoin is just there. And eventually people decide to purchase Bitcoin at the price that they deserve when they realize what the game actually is.
Yep. Yeah, and the reason why, I think Bitcoin is brought up a lot, there's definitely similarities between it and SPX in that cyberpunk
Hmm.
ethos, but also, I mean, it it's the big measure of systemic risk, against
Hmm.
the system, and that benefits SPX as well. Um,
Hmm.
so, and obviously the liquidity from Bitcoin is important. So this is important. I guess I'm just emphasizing it. Talking about Bitcoin is an important topic as it
Yeah.
relates to SPX. But technically,
Yeah.
I will say on the tokenomics end, SPX has better tokenomics than Bitcoin currently. I don't think that's talked
Right.
about enough, but
Yeah, no, the diamond-handedness, the like what's really cool about SPX for me that separates it from Bitcoin, Bitcoin is hard to understand. SPX is really easy to understand. The
it's true.
point is to flip the stock market.
There you
Like,
go.
that's it. That's it. And the whole ethos behind SPX is like a self-reinforcing like loop where the folks who have the characteristics to join SPX when they find SPX and begin to dollar cost average into XPX, they perform the daily actions consistently enough that all the supply gets sucked into cold storage, and it's a perpetual process. There's literally, and it's cool because then you take a step back and you like look at everyone else and you're like, yeah, makes sense. We're all on like kind of like a trampoline sort of deal, and we're just jumping, and more people come in and be like, "Oh, let's all do this."
That's a good
And
way to
like,
put it.
yeah, yeah,
And then
and
eventually we jump
it's
on a bigger trampoline, and then we bounce back.
exactly, and then we just keep bouncing,
Yeah.
and we just keep bouncing. and folks are like, oh, but he's like, and the thing is, from like a healthcare perspective, like I do wonder like how to do research on the cognosphere itself, right? I take it back to like Balaji talked about network states, network unions. Have you heard of this? Like the process of going from God to state to network.
Mm-mm. Or I know the network state. I don't know that
Yeah.
process you just outlined though. I've heard of the network
Okay.
state though.
Right. So it's like there are leviathans in the world. And a leviathan is described as like the most powerful force in the world, right? In the 1900s, people didn't steal because they were afraid that God would strike them down. They elected people that were God-fearing because they thought that God would then bless them.
That makes
In
sense.
I guess the 20th century, so that's 19th century. In the 20th century, people didn't steal because they were afraid that the state would strike them down, right? And then you had empires. And now in the 21st century, people don't steal because they're afraid that the network will ostracize them, either via cancel culture, amongst the 99%, or even like corporate cancel culture,
Sure.
networks like Davos, right?
Hmm.
Um, so that's the process. And you know, the SPX is SPX is super unique because it's a network of individuals that are aligned on a mission, and the mission itself serves to improve the lives of the people in the network as well, right? And so, a decentralized tokenized community, a decentralized movement. One thinks of, like, to me, what comes to mind is like the civil rights movement. I imagine, what if the civil rights movement had like a token, and like people could see the benefit from like a political sense of the civil rights movement, but there was no like necessary like financial tie associated with that, right? SPX is like the civil rights movement, but the counter-cultural perspective isn't one that's based off race. It's actually like one that's based off of like meaning or something along those lines, where aeons have higher meaning per capita in their lives than folks who aren't aeons. And then as a result, they act differently.
Yes.
And what's interesting about the time that we're in right now is that we're dealing with the effects of empire. I think a lot of the folks in the West viewed empire so I'm Nigerian, so I have like a different kind of view on empire. And I think a lot of folks in the West viewed empire as like out there sort of deal,
Sure.
right? But now it's kind of coming in here, right? And the divide and conquer effects of empire that were once out there they're now being turned around.
Yep.
Okay. And that's like an atomization process. That's something that's very dehumanizing,
Hmm.
very disheartening, that sort of thing.
Yep.
The West used to be like was seen in many ways as like a shining city on a hill, and from that moral high ground, kind of stemmed the the pride, the confidence, the whatever,
The
the chutzpah.
nationalism, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly, exactly. But I would argue that that narrative no longer is there anymore. And on one level, you have a bunch of folks that are at the very top from like an executive perspective who are just really good at operating, able to really stifle their emotions and just act over and over again, right? And then you have everybody else that's like trying to figure out like, yo, what do I do now? Like if the money is becoming more worthless, why am
Yep.
I doing the thing that I'm doing, right? And then you have aeons who are like, yes, the money is becoming more worthless, and we're all in this Hunger Game, cooking pot scenario, the temperature is being brought up to a boil, where where do you put your trust? Where do you put your belief? I put my belief in people who have the same fundamental kind of like, philosophical underpinning. And then I put my belief in those folks, and those folks, as we go about doing our thing, they are aiming for higher and higher goals. And that's inspiring me to aim for higher and higher goals. And there's this like
Yeah.
tornado sort of, so to speak. And and I wonder, like this whole thing was kind of brought up with my idea, like I wonder how to do like research or whatnot on the cognisphere. Because the thing about network states or tokenized decentralized communities, the value add is a cultural one, right? A cultural one. It's a meta one that thoughts lead to feelings, lead to outcomes. It's like a thoughts one. And so I want like over a long enough time, if you're thinking better thoughts than other people, then you're going to be feeling better feelings and then acting better actions and having better results.
I mean, it's like the old saying: "You are who you hang out with. You are what you
Yeah,
you know." So yeah,
right.
that definitely makes sense, and it does filter like the Aeon, the cognisphere filters people,
Yeah,
and people who aren't actually Aeons get exposed eventually, and
right.
we've seen a little bit of that, you know,
Yeah,
during the downturn. So
yeah, yeah,
happens every time, but
right.
you,
Monks versus missionaries. Versus mercenaries. Monks versus mercenaries.
yep,
It's hard to be a mercenary in down times.
right, exactly, exactly. Yeah, eventually you can only take the pain for so long before you're like, what am I doing? Screw this. I'm gonna go for the
Yeah,
next hot thing or whatever.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It's the same, even on such a big geopolitical level. It is the same ideas, which I think is harder for people to imagine. But
mm,
if we scale it, it could be at that same level eventually. Which
right,
I would say Bitcoin has a lot of those traits as well. Because I mean,
right.
and crypto generally does as well. Because there's you know people who are vying. Why can't I think of the word? Lobbying the government to do things and have actual power
Hmm.
now, which is cool. And I think that will
Hmm.
continue to grow as well. So yeah, it's crazy, and yeah, I definitely want to be on the side of Aeons. I mean,
Yeah,
especially at this early stage, it just makes sense. It's an incredible
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah. No, it just makes sense. It's like it's a pro-human thing. And that's where I think that's really where the next divide is going to be, where it's like it's not left versus right. It's really like pro-human versus like pro-corp, pro-human versus like pro-AI. That's sort of the divide right now is a little fuzzy, as far as in my mind describing it, but that's where that line is. And like at the what I'm seeing is everybody wants human flourishing. People are tired of politicians, of people getting into power, promising them human flourishing, and then failing to deliver.
Yeah.
And they're just like, where are the folks that actually want human flourishing and like live by that principle? Uh, and I
Makes
think that's
sense.
Aeons. And I don't think anybody in crypto right now, or at least very few folks in crypto, are really sticking their neck out and saying like, yes, this is pro-human flourishing. Fight me.
I think there's a few, and they're in different communities, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we need to get them over here. They may not
Yeah,
know about us
no,
yet. You know what I mean? So
yes,
the other
yes, exactly.
the other thing I will say, I just had this random thought. Kind of goes. It's kind of what you were saying about some people operate at a high level and are just executing almost soulless and mindlessly, and then people are just
Hmm.
taking it, trying to figure it out. So there was this thread on 4chan several years ago that I actually found very insightful. It was
Oh,
reposted on
say more.
X. It was reposted on X. I don't really visit 4chan, but I do find some of their posts
Right,
interesting.
right.
Anyways,
Yeah, I don't visit it either. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But anyways, it was interesting because it was like there's three different. It was. I mean, it's a summarization. There's three different types of people in the world. There's psychopaths, there's schizos, and there's NPCs, normies, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
psychopaths are people who just operate and are just they know what they're doing and they're trying to manipulate the herds to do what they want. That would be kind of
Yeah.
what you're saying, the mindlessly, like just they're just thinking they know what they want, they want to manipulate, they want power, whatever.
Yeah.
There's there's
Exactly.
there's there's NPCs who just enforce social norms. So whatever the social norm is, they just do it. But whatever
Yeah.
side of the I mean, in the left-right thing in the U.S., I think there's two
Hmm.
fields of normie who are just enforcing what their party says, essentially. And then there's
Hmm.
people with the schizo category who see the playing field, see what's going on, and they're morally against it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Right. 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 Yeah. And I think it was
and
like
everybody thinks,
psych.
and everybody hates them too. Like NPCs hate them too, because
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
fucked both ways.
I don't know whether this is the same post, but I saw one. It's like psychos beat normies, normies beat schizos, schizos beat psychos.
It's probably
Because
related. It's probably related.
yeah, yeah, and
That's so
that's
funny.
true, man.
Yeah.
That's true. It's but like at the same time, it's like I wonder about this sometimes. It's like I don't. You sometimes you think I'm like, wow, do I care more? Especially in healthcare. You see, sometimes I see folks who's like, wow, it sounds to me, it feels to me like I care more about your livelihood and your health than you care about your own health,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, on some level, one might say, oh, that's paternalistic or whatever, but like from a healthcare perspective, there's clear instances in which that's the case. I think from a schizo to like normie, when looking at the psychos, it's like, guys, it's like 6,900 is a bigger number than 500.
They're like, no,
Like,
you shouldn't. No, 500. No, these companies are.
no,
It's American infrastructure.
right, right,
Fuck
exactly.
you.
No, man.
They hate you. It's like,
Yeah, fam, yeah, no, no. Truly, like collective action is the word of that I've been or the phrase I've been pondering. Collective action, like that is what, if you can solve collective action problems, those are the most important, most valuable problems to society. Governments are solving collective action problems. Militaries solving collective action problems. Corporations solving collective action problems. Bitcoin is solving a collective action problem. SPX is solving a collective action problem. Like this is I joke around and whatnot, but I'm also very, very serious about this and in a way that I don't think that folks really get, right? Because what is the alternative? Like at the end of the day, what is the alternative? Like you have a career, you'll be fine. I have a career, I'll be fine. God willing, you never know what's coming down the pipe. But the folks who are like the youth, like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're gonna essentially live in a place where you have social credit score and if you say something the wrong way, you'll be axed from XYZ thing. Like, is that really what we're trying to give to the next generation? What do you mean that our politicians are octogenarians? What do you mean that like Social Security is bankrupt? What do you mean that we're like $40 trillion in debt? What do you mean like well, what does that, what do you mean? Are you serious? Is that what it, like, for me, when I look at this stuff, I'm like, you're, the alternative, the alternative is that you're going to be like a cage in a cage. You're going to be a serf. You're going to be, a serf is like the positive angle of things. And if that's the end state that people are resigning themselves to, then like I mean, then you're kind of like an addict who's given up on any chance of ever getting clean, right? Like that's essentially what you're saying, right?
yeah,
And I don't think and aeons are like, no, no, that's not the end state.
yeah.
That's what aeons are like. And I think everybody like folks on CT that like FUD SPX or like, oh whatever. I'm like, okay, what is the alternative, my friend? What is the alternative that is pro-human flourishing?
I think you
And
should.
if you,
I was gonna say. I
yeah,
think before we go back to the thing you said earlier, the incentive. What's the incentive? There you go.
right,
With them, they're full of shit. They don't believe in anything.
yeah,
So,
right,
anyways, go ahead.
right. No, exactly. It's like, what is if, you know? the thing is, I don't need to do any of this. I don't need to do any of this. I could like just go out into the sunset, do my doctor thing, get my money, give it to BlackRock, continue doing that, and then just like go into some like gated community and understand like that's the thing about the schizos.
Yeah,
The schizos could easily become the psychos and be like, you
yeah,
know what,
that's
whatever.
another point in the thing. The only
Yeah,
difference is one's basically it's just evil versus not evil, essentially.
right, exactly. Exactly. And it's like one of my friends, the friend who showed me the Bitcoin thing, super smart man, like very important. He's like you can only hold the rubber band of reality apart for so long before it snaps back into place. And I think fundamentally the like one I think that there's like a orientation to the good that one must have in order for one to live like a fulfilling, meaningful life, right? And like SPX is like aeons are orienting to the good every single day, rain or shine. That's the point. And I think that's important. That's very valuable, especially as the reality begins to dawn on folks that absolute power corrupts, like that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That the fundamental drivers of folks who rise through the ranks of power are the same. That the folks in like the Eastern CCP and the Western, let's say DC, at the highest levels, both of those people want the same thing, which is top-down control grid. They're just going about it through different ways.
Yeah,
Like it's a big club and you're not in it.
pretty much.
And yeah, and so anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I agree. And there's so many things we don't know. You know, we
Right,
only know what we
right,
know.
yeah.
And I was gonna say this reminded me too. I know a lot of people give Elon Musk a lot of shit. Before him acquiring it, none of this stuff was on X, like
No, no,
or Twitter at the
exactly.
time. Like it
Yeah.
was so locked down. It was so controlled.
Hmm.
Anybody who said anything outside of that opinion,
Yeah.
totally, you were pushed to oblivion. I can't. I mean, and X is still not great. Like there's still some censorship, but my God, it is so much better than it was. Hello there. Thank you for watching Persist Forever. Please take a moment to like, comment, and subscribe. Now back to the episode. Just saying, from a
Right.
censorship perspective, that's opened the veil a lot. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. Like the Overton window is increased for sure. And that's important. But it does not mean that one just kicks up their feet and says, I guess this is it. There's still work to be done.
oh yeah,
And
oh
there's
yeah,
yeah. And what I see, what's really cool about the Cognosphere is that folks are doing the work. Folks are doing the work every day, and it's very inspiring. There's no other place in CTE that I see the same, like someone said like high inspiration per capita. Yes. High execution per capita, like high like love energy per capita and not from like a woo woo sort of whatever Hollywood sense, but like
yeah,
an action verb, like love as a verb. You
right.
know what I mean? Yeah, like
Truly
the same
passionate
way.
people. Yeah,
Exactly. The same way like a mom, like a mother, when their child is faced like goes into danger, will run through fire and back type of thing. Professor Jiang has this on his like most popular video. He has this thought experiment where you're like you have a bunch of folks in like a flesh eating in an island, and there's a bunch of monkeys that are like flesh eating monkeys. What do they do? How do they survive? How do they pick a leader, right? The leader is they pick the leader by the person who is able to sacrifice the most for the group. And the way that he goes about telling the story is like you have like the 65-year-old guy who goes up there and he says a lot of good things. Like it sounds good, it sounds intellectual, whatever. And then you have this 15-year-old guy who goes up there straight face, stoic in front of everybody, gets his hand up, and then cuts his hand off in front of every single person, doesn't cry, doesn't say anything. And then Professor Jiang asks, "Who do you think the group chooses as a leader?" They choose a guy who cut his hand off in front of everybody for the group, right?
Right.
Because that's the point, you know.
But
And
we,
I
but we,
and
but we wouldn't.
what do you mean by
Like
that?
I'm saying, people I don't think would. People would be like,
Right.
"That's insane. That's crazy." Like not literally like that, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't. I'm saying that people trust old people for some reason. I guess I'm just like kind of thinking like that.
I think I think that maybe, but I think it's more complicated than that because I think there are a lot of other factors. There are a lot of like political layers and kind of
Yeah,
structural things, you know.
I'm saying people are very.
Right.
I think that's like in our core primitive if we would act the way we would act that way.
Mm,
But what I'm
mm.
saying, there's lots of brainwashing that has happened. So
Yes.
you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
No. I agree with you. I agree with you
unfortunately, there's
there.
lots of brainwashing to undo, which is going to take a
It's so
long
much.
time. So
Right, right. But still, I think like aeons are what I love about the cognosphere is that there are a lot of folks in the cognosphere who metaphorically would cut their hand off
sure,
for the group.
right.
And I think on some level that's what all the schizos are doing when they're looking at the normies getting manipulated by the psychos. They're like, yo guys, okay, fine. Y'all aren't gonna listen to me. I'm gonna need to shock you out of the reality that you're currently residing in so that we can then reorient and recognize what's actually important. That, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let's look
Right.
up. Yeah.
Right. But the government, as the other issue, the government does design things to where you stay near the bottom, so you can't ever even see the top. That's the
Yeah.
other issue too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So they hear a politician that's like offering them a little treat, and then they're like, "Oh, that's awesome," It is
Right.
terrible. God, it's terrible.
Right. But here's the thing. I think you read the book, The Sovereign Individual, because it gave me hope afterwards. Because I, s- I looked at it and I said, okay, on some level, so one of the main premises in the book is that mega politics, the which is the politics around violence, is what shapes the how humans organize,
Yeah.
right? And by the propagation of semiconductors, the return of investment uh, shifts from being coercive, resulting in a high return of investment, to actually being protective, resulting in a high return on investment. An example that I can point to two examples. One, the Ukraine war, where essentially drones have made it really challenging for both sides to use very high, high capital intensive weapon systems because then like a $400 drone can blow it up, right?
That's
So
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, so it switches from coercion, like the drone is more protective. And then the second thing is like Bitcoin. You saw the Netherlands actually having to remove the like 36% tax like
They
on
did.
unrealized capital gains. Yeah, they had to run that take a step back
Why?
because of the outcry. Folks were like,
That's
"No, I'm not
awesome.
doing this.
I didn't.
I'm
I didn't
leaving."
know that part. I knew that. I thought they were going to do it. That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And
all the
so
rich people were
you
like, "Fuck you, we're leaving." Basically, probably.
not only the rich people, but the poor people have the internet, right?
Cool.
And so the return of investment violence has shifted, and it's only going to become more and more leaning towards protectionist forces. And
Gotcha.
so as a result, politicians who are coercive, who extract more from the population rather than they provide, are going to become fewer and fewer in number.
Gotcha.
Uh, yeah, and much like how how the state was usurped by the church, uh, how the church was usurped by the state,
Right.
the like a similar process is occurring as folks realize, like aeons recognize, that the state's not coming to save you. If it is to be, it's up to you. And if a bunch of people coordinate around a particular idea and make purposeful action, it's like you're drawing the reality, you're drawing the future into the present.
Dude, I am hopeful. But even if it doesn't totally ever get totally fixed,
Yeah, yeah.
it's still going to help people who get involved in
Yes,
SPX. So
yes.
that's what I'm focused on, because I don't like to think about it too much at this point. It's just so kind of
Mm,
depressing, and I feel defeated a little bit about it. But I am
mm,
very hopeful that it does seismically shift. I did have the thought, my optimistic scenario, most optimistic take is like the state almost becomes like, it was funny you mentioned the church thing. The state almost becomes like the church, just like a ceremonial thing. Like, oh yeah, we got a
mm.
president, whatever. They don't really do anything. We ignore them basically. They're not that useful.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Sorry to the Pope and
yeah.
all that, but we. But I'm saying,
Right.
like most people don't really take the religious authorities too seriously, even if they go to a church. It tends to be
Hmm.
more personal. But my point is, I hope that's kind of what it turns into, and maybe it's just like a man. And the more I think about taxes, the more annoyed I get too. But yeah, you just on a whole rabbit
Right.
hole. 50% of
Yeah,
my money up practically for what? You know,
exactly.
it's insane.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I hold that optimistic view as well. I think that like it's interesting, right? We started this conversation talking about kind of like social media and like messaging and that sort of stuff. What's really unique about the my generation and the generations that are going to be coming up is they're going to be very versed in propaganda or very versed in messaging, right? And so it's like you, if you look at the propaganda, uh, like in World War I, World War II, it was very simple, very crude, would not work today because folks were not used to what that was. You know what I mean? And nowadays, like and let's say the anti-war or perhaps the folks who are not necessarily the independents, one might say, the number of independents are rising
Yeah,
because people are actually looking at the at what's going on and saying like, what have you done for me lately? And how can I trust you? How people want accountability, right?
I saw this meme. This just thought made me think of it. It was so funny. It showed Mister Rogers talking to a camera, and it's like, and the meme it said on there, it said, conspiracy theorists talking to the normies who are finally questioning things. You've learned so
Yeah.
much today. I'm so proud of you. I almost died when I saw that. Like,
Oh my gosh, yeah, send me that meme.
you've learned so much. We're so
Yeah,
proud of
yeah,
you.
yeah. Oh, please send that meme.
I said
That's
that
so
to my
funny.
brother. He almost died. Learned so much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I feel
And so
kind of
now,
like a douche feeling that way, but it's so true because it's so frustrating. It's like we've been trying to tell
yeah.
us. Like I'm a big. I'm not. I don't. I'm not a conspiracy theory on everything, but I am pretty big on it.
Hmm.
My mom recently kind of started like, what is going on? A couple the
Yeah,
COVID thing awoke up a lot of people.
it
Um,
did. It did.
so
And
that did her in.
yeah, yeah, no, it's tough. It's really frustrating. I could go into a rabbit hole for that too, man.
Oh
But
yeah,
yeah, like public trust in institutions, all-time low,
yeah. Well, it
all-time
makes
low.
sense.
Right.
They fucked
Because
up
what
big
have they?
time.
They did,
They fucked it
and
up.
then and like like the lack of transparency or humility. I think if folks were just more humble and were like,
Yep.
hey, we don't know, but we're trying to find out. This is where we're at, and I'm not just trying to say this from, and it's not like a holier than thou, like, oh, do what I say sort
Yep.
of deal. It's like, well, this is like, if it were more, if it made more sense, if it made more logical sense or whatnot, I think folks would be on board, but it doesn't because it doesn't because it's not because the point isn't I don't think the point is the surface level thing. There's so many layers of like relationships and connections above it that the reason why entities do what they do is not related to whatever the cover story is.
Right. There's hidden intentions. Like is
Yeah,
yeah, it's crazy. And what you have to get to that point to where you don't trust and you have to verify. If you just
right,
trust, yeah. And the point you said, like with like World War II propaganda, is like fight for your country, blah 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 blah, that sort of thing.
right. Yeah, yeah.
And that was like it. Now, if you do that, people will be like, okay, whatever.
Right.
Like
Yeah, I
even like
agree. I
regular
agree.
people are not gonna buy that shit. You know, it's got to be more
Exactly.
intricate.
Exactly. And the thing is, right, I'm as a doctor who like I've rotated at the VA healthcare system over
Mm-hmm.
like multiple times. Man, it's so sad. It's so sad because you promise these vets like everything, this, that, and the world, and then you give them like nothing, and then you're taking away more things over and over again. You just like come in, you chew them out, push them out, and then they're homeless with PTSD and all these
Oh
other
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's like why would I why would anybody do that willingly? Nobody's doing that willingly at
No.
all. No. Mm-mm.
No,
Yeah.
I would never go to war for my country as much as it. And I consider myself a proud American actually, but it just not
Mm.
in a national. I don't agree with the government whatsoever. So for the
Yeah.
most part, pretty much all the way. So if there was ever a draft,
Yeah.
I would just go to jail. I wouldn't do it.
Right. And I don't think that you're alone in that sentiment because they've burnt so much political capital in forever wars in the Middle East
There's no way I would
and
do it. I'd
around
much
the
rather
world.
go rot in jail than do that. Like,
Right.
there's no
Like
way I'm doing it.
who am I doing it for? Why? We all the wars were wars of choice mm, yeah, on some level, yeah, all the wars were wars of choice. There were different ways to go about doing it. It's very complicated. Again, empire. What does that mean? Adam Smith talks about the invisible hand, right? If the invisible hand is the right hand of the markets, the left hand is like the coercive hand,
Yeah.
right? And they work together. And I don't know. I still haven't really come to terms with that. It's really complicated.
Yeah.
Um, but
You know who I think
it's
you would also love reading?
who
Jeff Booth. Have you heard of him? He's a Bitcoin philosopher guy.
I think I have, but I don't like what book. I'll write it
It's
down.
not super Bitcoin centric. There's a little bit of Bitcoin woven in at the end. It's kind of funny. He wrote the book in like 2017. Didn't really know about Bitcoin. Discovered it and interwoven it in the last chapter. And he realized what he was writing about was for Bitcoin. His research led him
Hmm.
to it. But anyways, it's called The Price of Tomorrow. Very interesting book.
Oh, okay.
The Price of Tomorrow.
I'll take into it the price of tomorrow.
It's very much
Yeah.
about like markets, and if we actually lived in a free market, everything would eventually become free, essentially. And that can't be it.
Mm.
That can't happen because of the power structures and how the debt is set up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I'll no. I'll
it's a
take
pretty
a
cool book.
look at it. No, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm, as you can tell, I like reading. Knowledge is power, applied knowledge especially. And man, it's so. I stay optimistic because I'm in the cognisphere, I think. I think if SPX 6900 wasn't a thing, then I don't know what I'd do. I don't know, because then then you're really stuck with what to do. Stock market, what average 10% a year, if you put into consideration inflation and then the debasement of currency, what are you looking at? Forex, no. Prediction markets? What? Insider trading against like the insiders? No, that's not
Yeah,
happening. What? Sports? What? I
gambling.
mean the gambling.
Straight
Yeah.
up, no. Straight up gambling, no.
Yeah.
That's what some people are doing, just straight up gambling and trying to do it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buy the lottery
Literally,
ticket.
literally. Right. Yeah. What you're there, like scratch offs or something. Like where is the agency? How does one begin to start to separate their money from their time, right? I
Exactly.
don't know. I don't know.
I did want to ask you one thing specific to SPX, like
Sure.
SPX culture. Like, I know you've been a pretty big proponent of tipping in the past.
Hmm.
So, what makes you feel kind of strongly about that or made that push?
Oh, because it's like uh what's it? Mass times coordination times I think it was like mass times coordination. So there's this equation that I stumbled upon about like game theory, how
Oh,
like the game theoretic way to actually excel. And ultimately what it boils down to is that coordination is cubed and everything else is like either times one or squared. And tipping, I think, is like a coordination mechanism. PayPal, when it was first starting, what they did was they basically gave like they had this like incentive structure. It's all about incentives. You had this incentive structure where like if somebody sent money with PayPal, then they would like match it to like $20 or something. And they essentially spent like $1 million over like 6 months, and like
wow.
they grew exponentially over those 6 months,
That makes
right?
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think tipping culture within any decentralized tokenized community functions the same way internally. One, because on multiple levels. One, it's like physical incentive, right? You say plus yes to good content or good actions, no to bad actions. But then two, external in my mind, I see, imagine you're like a normie, you're going around, and then some guy bumps into you. I'm like, bro, I found this thing, and like everybody's tipping everybody. And you're like, what do you mean? That
Yeah.
like, I want to
Yeah.
get tipped. Like, think about
Oh
it.
yeah.
I go get Starbucks coffee or something, or you go to a restaurant. That, the question is like, oh, well, there's another question at the end, and it's always like a tip. You want 5%, 10%,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. Yep.
The point of that initially was if somebody gave you good service, then you'd want to like pass that on. But we're so atomized that you don't know the server. And maybe if you feel, like you're a good person or you want to do something nice for that person, sure, you'll tip. But it's very much like, especially in times like these, folks are not jumping out of their seats to do such a thing, right?
Yeah.
And so, I think in a tokenized decentralized community, it's like if like those communities with the highest tipping cultures have amongst the highest levels of internal coordination, and that's a win. And again, coordination is cubed, and so that's a win. I still tip. I do it less. Um, let's say less outwardly than I had before because I do think that there's something where one must kind of like so I'm a Christian. In the Bible, it's Jesus says like when you give alms to the poor, don't be like the rich man who does so everybody knows that they're doing it
Sure.
right.
Sure. And
Right.
I never
So
took it
it's
that way. Just to be,
yeah.
I never took it that way at all. I don't know if anybody did, but I never. I always took it as like you were trying to advertise. Hey, you should do this too. Like,
Yeah.
which I think is a good thing, but I never took
Yeah.
it in that way. Just I thought it was cool. So
No.
if you
No,
ever do
I
want to do it again, but
Oh yeah, no. I think I'll continue to do it. I guess yeah. I thought in my mind I was like, I don't want to. I thought to myself, I don't want to be that guy. But I mean, now that you're saying that you like it, I respect your opinion, and I feel like you have a pretty good pulse on how things are going. So it makes
no, I
sense
thought it was cool.
to
Like
start
it
that
was like
up.
a good. You were like that Tuesday reminder almost, and
Oh,
which
really?
so yeah, I think you really were. Like I
Okay.
thought it was cool. If you're doing if you're not tipping, don't force yourself to do it. But if you are
Right.
tipping, yeah, I think it makes sense because it's like a encouragement thing. I never took it
Yeah.
as oh look at me. I never took it that way. I don't think anybody did. If they did, they're weird.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that was my thought at least.
no, no, it's fine.
But that was the core reason I would say.
No,
It's all just
it definitely you helped bubble that up, like for real.
yeah,
No, we talked about
yeah,
that in the Cognosphere at one point. Like, there's Ebbie. Okay, reminder. We should do it.
That's I'm humbled. Thank you guys.
No, for real, for real. No, yeah, definitely. If you're still tipping, definitely. Yeah, which no
Yeah,
pressure to do anything, but
yeah.
definitely.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Why not? I still do it, and I don't see a reason why I can't make it public now that I guess I have the cosign from Southern Pride.
You hashed it out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
No, definitely not. It'd be different if you're like, I did this, and just like you just like said I did it in like a weird way. It's all about how you do it. And I think you did it perfectly. I think it was great.
Oh,
So never thought
well,
that.
thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
it's kind of like when Jesus did miracles. He didn't like do it behind closed doors necessarily. He did it in front of people.
True.
You know,
True.
not saying you're like
Yeah.
Jesus, but you know what I'm trying to
No,
say.
no, no, no. I'm not saying that either. It's sacrilegious. But it's definitely like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Why not do it publicly? And you're right. It is the intention that counts. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I
I
do.
honestly do.
I
Yeah.
agree. I feel like it has been lessened a bit. There was a little bit of pushback on it. I remember at some point a few weeks ago, I heard a few rumblings about it, and I kind of
Mm,
got their concern. But I think overall it is a net positive. It makes sense.
yeah.
I think where
That's yeah.
there is a bit of the negative is people take advantage of
Hmm.
it. So
Yeah.
you do have to be discerning because I've had a lot of people reach out to me like, oh, and
Yeah. Yeah. And
you
I
gotta
think
be discerning about it.
that's the thing. Folks started reaching out, and I feel like that's not it. That's not
No,
it. Like,
just ignore them.
yeah, I can't do. I was like, I felt bad, but I'm like, guys,
That's not what you do.
you're, yeah, you're kind of asking for handouts, which like I don't know any like everybody's situation, but also like, am I bad for deciding what to do with my own S like tokens? I
No,
don't
if
know.
anybody asks, the only exceptions I give to that is like Chiron, for example, is having a really, really rough time, and people are trying to
Hmm.
organize helping him. I look at that as a
Hmm.
separate thing. But if it's just like a random
Yeah.
person asking, it's like that's so weird.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? It's like you got to know the person. At least it's. I wouldn't feel guilty about it. Is what I'm trying to say. Like it's just
Yeah.
random
No, thank
person
you.
X, random person Y. Just ignore them.
Right.
Delete the message and forget about it.
Yeah,
I have
no,
to do
no.
that all the time too, by the way.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, man. I was like, okay, I don't like this. But you've given me a couple good things. I think you've inspired me, I would say, to make more content and to be more vocal or let's say open with the tips that I do send.
Well, you're extremely articulate too, extremely smart,
Hmm.
and I don't know if I definitely have got that from you. I don't think I realized how smart you were. You know what I mean? Like you're extremely
Uh,
smart. So
Thanks. Thanks. I read a lot. That's what it is. I think I read a lot.
yeah, I was laughing
But
today. Like somebody kind of docs today. I think posted after you showed off your your ripped off abs, which was awesome.
oh,
And then somebody
yeah.
reposted it and
Thanks.
never had doxed. I'm like, why aren't y'all making stuff?
Right,
Y'all need to be
right.
doing it. What the fuck? That
Yeah.
looks sell. I'm just saying.
Looks maxi. No, facts, facts, facts. I mean, you're right. You're right. I was just I pay attention to things and I'm like and sometimes I get frustrated. Sometimes I'm like I just don't think people get it. I don't think people get what exactly it is that fuels aeons. At least fuels an aeon like me. Like,
Yeah.
um, no, it's like the reason I laugh is because I'm tenacious. I'm a tenacious person, and there's and again there is what is the alternative? This is like a People are, this is literally an existential problem. I think it's literally an existential problem.
Yeah.
And it's like an existential problem, like in the physical space, but also in the cultural mental space, you know? And so I think looks max, I saw a bunch of folks looks maxing on like streamers or whatnot. I'm like, okay, interesting. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what? Like I saw like a guy posted, it was 69 cent. I saw him post it. I was like, hey, I respect that. Let me do this because I work out, I like exercise,
Yeah.
eat well, do all those things. But why not show that? Because that is part of my story as an Aeon. Yeah. And I think it's part of a lot of other people's stories too.
Well, the only people, so you can inspire people like me who need to get their shit together, and
You
other
got
people.
it. You got it. Yes,
But
yes.
I'm saying, but people like me who are receptive to it. But some people, there's always gonna be the people who are just pissed off. You know, like
Yeah.
they're gonna be like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just. There's always gonna be those people. There's people like that to me, and
Right.
I'm like, I think it's hilarious. I'm like, I'm just having a good
Right.
time. Like, why are you acting this way?
Facts,
You
facts.
know, it's just,
I'm just trying to I'm just trying to give out the secrets. That's really what it is. I'm just trying to give out the
but
secrets.
when you do,
Speaking of,
well, I was saying one thing. When you do put your stuff out there, you are going to get some hate. It just is what it is.
right, yeah,
You got to
failure,
expect it.
you got failure, both failure and hate are integral parts of success. Like, but for those who are trying to get into better shape or whatever within the cognisphere, like literally there's the formula is super straightforward. Number one is intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
Intermittent fasting is huge. Number two, like calorie counting, figuring out your maintenance caloric need, and
Yep.
then eating like 500 calories below that. That
Makes
plus
sense.
intermittent fasting alone, you'll shed weight incredibly quickly. And then you can, work out. You don't even need to work out like 60 minutes a day or whatever.
Sure.
Like 30 minutes like do high intensity cardio. You could do like lift over the course of time consistently if you're intermittent fasting with like a 6 to 8 hour eating window. And that at a caloric deficit, 500 calories, 300 calories, whatever, you'll shred. And then you can like do cold showers and sleep well. And those and like those three things, they will get you right from a body perspective, right? And then from a like a looks maxing face perspective, gua sha, which is, have you heard of gua sha?
Hmm.
It's literally like a facelift for your face.
Interesting.
It's super cool. Like if you like YouTube it, you'll find like some like Asian lady that's like 80 and looks like she's like 45,
What?
you
That's
know.
crazy. That's awesome.
I'm being a little hyperbolic there, but yeah, yeah. Do that, and literally in 6 months you'll be a completely different person. Folks will be like, "What happened?" And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, I know what to do because I've lost a bunch of weight in the past. I used to be about 80-ish pounds more than I do now. And I used to
Oh,
smoke
cool.
cigarettes and I used to smoke weed
Hmm.
like I was super unhealthy. So
Yeah.
my problem, so I do know what to do. I did the intermittent fasting thing. I did pretty much what you said. Um,
Yeah.
what happens now is my problem is I keep comparing to how I felt then, and I felt like death
Mm.
basically, and now I feel
Hmm.
a lot better than
Pretty
that.
good.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's always like in my head, I'm like, oh, I did good. I love food too. That's the other problem. So,
Food is good.
so I'm always like, well, I feel pretty good. I'm gonna eat a little bit. I keep
Yeah.
doing the cycle thing. I'll lose 10 pounds super quick. I'll gain it back super quick. I've done this
Hmm.
so I don't know when I'm going to break the cycle and be inspired, but that's I
Hmm.
just need to be consistent. It's literally
Yeah.
that. And I
Yeah.
think
Consistency.
it's that mental thing that I think back to. I don't feel like I did
Hmm.
then. You know what I mean? I know I'm not
Hmm.
exactly where I should be, but I
Yeah.
know how bad I did feel. And I don't feel that bad anymore. You know what I mean?
Congrats. Yeah, I'm happy for you that like you've moved so significantly in the right direction.
Yeah.
And you're right, motivation is a thing that a lot of folks can struggle with, in keeping at it. I tweeted like today of a quote that I've been thinking about for the last few weeks. Like, if it is to be, it's up to me,
Right.
right? That's the belief of the fully responsible person. A lot of these ideas I got from Brian Tracy. He has this cool seminar called the Phoenix Seminar. You can find it online. It's like 8 hours long. It takes a while to go through. But the what I've found that's really true is you feel good about yourself to the extent that you have an internal locus of control. Whatever aspect of life that you're in, or you're looking at, whether it's your health, your wealth, your relationships, whatever, if you ask yourself, how much do I feel in control of this aspect of my life? And then you ask yourself, how good do I feel about this aspect of my life? Quite often, if you don't feel that you're in control, you'll feel bad. And if you do feel you're in control, you'll feel good.
Makes sense.
And ultimately, if it is to be, it's up to you. If you're finding yourself dragging yourself out of bed or like not wanting to go to the gym or whatever, and then you think about your goal, well, the ultimate thing is you're going to need to do it. Like me and the TikTok content. If I want to have like 100 videos, no one's going to make those videos for me but me. Yeah. And
Exactly.
that's it. That's like you are responsible. That gives you a lot of agency.
Well, it is
Yeah.
kind of funny. Like I'm extremely disciplined in pretty much every aspect of my life,
Yeah.
except with that. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's always been a thing. It's literally the weirdest thing. It's been a comfort
Mhm.
thing, you know.
Right.
But you know what got me to quit smoking? This is about
What?
eight-ish years ago.
Mm.
Well, first of all, I was finally like, okay, I need to get a girlfriend, like for real. So
Yeah.
I got to get
Yeah.
some weight down. So I like really tried, but I was still smoking and stuff. And then
Mm.
I met my current wife, and we were dating. And
Mm.
then I was like, what do you think about this? What do you think? She's like, I would never date anybody who did that. I'm like, oh, okay. So then I quit.
Okay.
That got me to quit. So I actually
Yeah.
told her, said this, like, if you threaten to divorce me unless I lose 50 pounds, that'd be kind of great, honestly.
That, hey,
I would get my ass to
exactly.
do it. If you don't lose 50 pounds by a year from now, we're done.
Right. Yeah, you start doing pull-ups
Yeah.
all the time.
So yeah, it's really just like a life. It's a comfort thing I've done, and
Yeah.
it's a bad habit. I haven't been able to break it yet, but I know I will
Yeah.
eventually. I'm going to.
Yes. I know you will. I know you will. By the very fact you said yet, I know you will.
Yeah.
Because you're not resigned to that fact. You're not resigned to it. It's happening. It's gonna happen. It's already happening. You just one day you'll wake up and be like, today's the day. And then it'll
Dude, I
be
have to say, man, like
Hmm.
quitting smoking cigarettes for me was easier than I think it's because everybody has to eat. You know what I mean? Like everybody, you
Hmm.
have to eat. So for me, when
Yeah.
I eat something and I eat something good, it like my brain just it shifts
Yeah.
into I just want to eat more, and it's like instant. And I never feel full. It's really great. I mean, I do eventually when I'm
Hmm.
sick. So
Right, right.
I do. There's something I don't. There's something a little jacked up with my brain because when I start eating, I just can't
Hmm.
stop. And I heard some people talking about it.
Interesting.
They'll eat and they'll be like, "Yeah, I feel full. I don't. Well, how do you keep eating?" I'm like, "It's just so good. I just keep eating. I don't know what my problem is."
Yeah, so there's a book that I think you'd like. It's called A Path Through the Jungle. It's by psychologist Steve Peters or something, I think his name is. He has, the podcast Diary of a CEO.
I've heard of it. Yep.
Okay.
Never
There's
really
he has
listened to it.
you should listen to the episode with this guy. And then if you're so inspired, you could pick up the book. He has this mental model, which as a neurologist, I think actually makes a lot of sense. Like he talks about the neuroscience to it. It makes sense where he views the mind as kind of three parts. You have your human, you have your chimp, and then you have your computer. And when trying to determine like the different parts, like this question he asks people is like if you take a blank sheet of paper and then he asks you, well, write down all the things that your ideal person would be. And you write down all of those characteristics. That's who you are, absent the chimp and the computer. And yeah, right. And so it's you and the chimp and the computer working together is your machine. And so why I bring this up is like in the book, he talks about folks who have a similar experience where it's like the food, as you're eating it, the reward that it gives your chimp, because your chimp is living in a world where it's like jungle, right? The reward
Yeah.
that it gives your chimp essentially allows the chimp to, because the chimp is like chimps. by themselves are faster and stronger than humans. Like you versus a chimp, chimp wins
Yeah,
in
right.
real life, right?
Exactly.
Um, and so, what can you as a human do as a result? How do you do this? Well, in the book, and really similar to what has been in like cognitive behavioral therapy, what a lot of modern day psychiatry, psychology is talking about. Also, what a lot of like esoteric Christianity, Buddhism, like the ancient wisdom teachings are saying are converging. Where and he puts it very nicely, where he's like, you have autopilot. It's all about beliefs, right? It's all about beliefs. Your computer. So what happens when you see like a piece of food on your plate, right? You your human and your chimp go to your computer and ask the computer, what are my beliefs about this current situation? And your computer spits out thoughts, and those thoughts result in feelings. And those thoughts are either like, oh, food good, I will keep eating, even though I might be sick afterwards, the food tastes so good, I'll continue eating, right? Versus like another thought, like, nah, I shouldn't, I should only eat like half of this and maybe save the rest for later, right? And so it's like you go to your computer, it spits out the thoughts, and your chimp and human both get like a little, like, I don't know, like a 2x4 index card about what thoughts are there. And the chimp gets to pick. The human doesn't pick, the chimp picks. So the chimp looks at the thoughts and it sees like, oh, I can keep eating because the food tastes so good, blah, 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 blah. And then the chimp goes and then you begin acting in your chimp mode, right? And
It's
right. And
definitely
then,
chimp mode for sure.
yeah, yeah. And then you're like, a couple cartons into like ice cream or whatever. I'm just as an example. And you're like, whoa, what am I doing? I'm sick. I was like, whatever,
Yeah.
right? And so what's really powerful is, and this is like kind of related to the smoking thing, I suppose, is like what the human does to how you as a human adjust your machine is by inserting what he calls autopilots, which are
Yeah.
positive beliefs into the computer. And you do this through journaling or like meditation or whatever. And over time, as you insert more autopilots into the computer, and then at this and go up a level and remove the negative beliefs or what he calls gremlins or goblins. You remove those from their computer. Then, when you're faced with that situation, your chimp goes to your computer and looks at it, and I'm like, oh, I should only eat half of this. And like, that's all. Like, I should only eat half. In fact, I should eat a quarter. In fact, I should probably eat, like, I shouldn't get the burger, I should get the salad or whatever. Right. And then you act based off of that. Right. And so I say that to say, like, your experience of, like, oh, I eat all this stuff. And then, I feel sick or I know I shouldn't, but I keep doing it. What's going on there? I think if you were to take a look at that book, it would open your mind to what's going on. After I read it, I could like literally I can feel the beliefs popping up and the emotions occurring.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it does it. It definitely is autopilot, and the only
Yeah.
reason why I was able to lose the weight I did, since I have
Mm.
maintained that loss,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I moved to a new norm. And the only reason why I think I ever did is because I literally do not have um I do not have junk food in my house, so I
Right.
still overeat, but it's harder to overeat calorie wise when you don't have junk food in your house. If
Mm.
you always have a stockpile of crap, which I used to, and
Hmm.
I used to drink
Hmm.
regular soda too, and I still drink diet soda, but it doesn't have calories at least. And
Yep,
then
yep.
I know that's not the best for you, but it's at least no calories.
Yeah.
But I was able to. That was like my hard function. I don't have it in the house.
Yep. Yes,
so,
exactly.
so now I overeat on like it's and if it's anything like it's I can make anything taste good. I'm also a really good cook. That's the bad thing too. I'm a
Oh,
really good cook. No, I'm not trying
that's
to brag,
awesome.
but that
That's
sucks. That
awesome, man.
sucks too because I can make some good shit. I could.
Sweet.
You give me like three ingredients, I'll probably figure out something to make it taste good. So
Huh.
that's a problem too.
How'd you learn to cook so well?
I just, dude, just I one day I was just like, Well, I just wanted to. I love food. I just wanted to learn how to cook, so I just kept cooking. I've cooked. I've been cooking since since I got in college, basically. So since I was like 20, so 15 years, I just cooked almost every meal. My wife does no cooking.
Really?
I don't trust her, so I do all the cooking. I
Yeah.
don't trust her at all.
You're like my.
I'm like, no, I'll cook. Don't worry about it. You go do
Hmm.
that. I'm good.
What did you? So it sounds like you were just like a lot of trial and error, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't. I'll see a recipe, and I'll look at the ingredients and be like, okay, I got it, and I'll just do it. I don't have to
Huh.
if it's a new recipe, or I can kind of once you do it for so long, you kind of intuitively know what will taste right, what will not taste right.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
the biggest key is learn how to season. A lot of people
Right.
don't season. It's like a very basic thing,
Hey.
but you got to.
Yeah. Huh. That's so cool. I mean, that's one of the things I want to get better at is learning how to cook good meals and then like meal prep better and those sorts of
Yeah, I could
things.
do all those things, and it. I don't love the reason why I don't love meal prepping is because by the time you eat that seventh meal,
Yeah.
the seventh day, it kind of tastes like shit.
Right,
So that
right.
bothers me. It's like I want to make it fresh, so
Yeah.
I tend to I don't like meal prepping because it makes me a little nutty. But if I have a
Mm.
plan for the day, I tend to do better. Anyways, I don't want to talk about too much about it, but
No, no,
just
this is
dude,
interesting.
it's just like anything else. Just start cooking,
I'll,
basically.
hey, I'll another add into the list, man. Yeah.
Just start cooking. It's crazy how fast you cook. It'll become so intuitive to you. Like
Mm.
I'm not intimidated by anything cooking related. It's like okay, now baking
Huh.
I'm a little bit, but I'm actually a decent baker too. But
I hey, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. The way you're talking about cooking, I'm like, yeah, he knows how to. You could make like a souffle or something.
I'm not that good. I've never made a souffle. I don't go that.
Mm.
I like to make more home cooking soul food and that sort of thing.
Oh,
You know,
even better.
the good
Yes.
stuff. Nothing too
Yeah,
fancy.
yeah. Man, okay, okay. We know whose house we're going to. Like, I don't know, SPX. Where do you reside?
I live in Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Greenville, Spartanburg
Okay.
area. It's upstate
Yeah,
South Carolina.
SPX. I think there's going to be like a South Carolina, like North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
actually the main organizer for it.
Oh,
It's in my area.
perfect.
There you go.
Perfect. Okay, okay. So we got some that's like good advertising right there. We got some good food there. That's what you're telling me.
I don't know if I'm going to be cooking it, but
Okay, okay. Disappointed.
I do like to cook Southern food. I will be honest. Southern breakfast in
I love
particular
it.
is so much fun
I
to me.
love it.
Yeah, breakfast. Honestly, if you're really trying to get good at cooking, breakfast. If you have no experience cooking, start with breakfast. It's the easier one.
Mm,
So
okay.
learn how to make an
Okay.
omelet. That's like I mean I'm not I don't know how your skill level is, but that's like the most basic thing. That was the first thing I
Yeah.
was like I need to get good at making eggs. We should get good at making eggs. You're all right.
Okay. I mean, I for me it's like it's the I can make a I feel like my breakfast foods are pretty good,
Nice.
but it's the soups. It's the soups and like the different broths and whatnot that I'm like, yo, how does this work? You know?
I don't. I feel like soups are pretty easy.
You think so?
Yeah, just cut up a
I
bunch of
mean,
ingredients, throw it in a pot, put some broth in it. You're pretty good.
hmm.
Depends on what you're
I
making.
mean, there,
I don't know how fancy you're going with it, but
I maybe I'm going too fancy. Maybe I should like
dude,
bring it down a
if
notch.
you want to make a soup, just do it. Put it in a crock pot. Leave it in there all day. It's easy.
Okay, okay. The my crock pot scares me.
Dude, the crock pot's the easiest thing in the world.
Hey man,
Dude, you can throw in some throw it. I love making stew. I mean I think it's incredible. Just throw in some awesome you know beef. Throw in some beef broth. Throw in
hmm,
cut up some potato. Cut up some carrots.
hmm.
Throw it all in there. Let it sit for 12 hours. And you got a delicious. Season it, and then you're good.
Man, hey, I'm inspired. I'm super inspired, man. You're
Crockpot.
gonna
That's another thing. Crockpot meals. That's what I told my brother. He was trying to learn to cook. Just Start with crockpot mills. Easy.
Crockpot meals. Okay, hey, I'm ready. It was like 2 weeks later. Hey, Cognisphere burnt down my place. Blame.
I
I'll
couldn't
send you
boil
the
water.
invoice.
No, there's this funny meme. It's like guy in college who thinks he can cook cooking ramen. He puts a little egg in it. Like, ooh, put an egg in my ramen.
Oh, that's me. That's me. I'm like,
I'm a chef now.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
it's
Where's
good.
my
Hey,
where's
there's
my
nothing. There's
ah,
nothing wrong with that. It's not bad.
no, no. I mean, we got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
We all got to start somewhere.
I got two more quick questions.
Sure, sure.
When flippening?
When flipping, I don't think about I don't really think about the flippening or like I don't have a date on it. I'm literally like I think about this. So what, December, January, people were like, "Oh, gotta make sure you're in like multi-cycle projects." And that's where I'm at. I don't eventually, when flippening, soon,
There you go.
eventually. Like the
It's already
meme,
happened. It's already happened. People just don't
exactly.
understand it yet.
Exactly, exactly. Like Kyle shared this meme where it's like, like mid curve. It's like high end of the curve, like higher soon, low end higher soon, middle like freaking out, and then you have like the galaxy brain, like just higher period. That's it. What do you mean? Like,
You're thinking too much on time frames. Oh,
yeah, no, it's like literally. The goal is to flip the stock market. The goal is to be SPX is like anti-atomization of the individual. And it's like for me, SPX is it's really like a nexus of of agency maxing, right? Like, but all the aeons are people who want to be high agency individuals. And I'm with those folks. I'm with those folks. Straight
absolutely.
up. Like, yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. Um, any final thoughts?
Um, no, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot, man.
We could have
I
probably kept
think,
talking. That's the crazy thing. And we just met.
yeah.
That's the amazing thing. Everybody's
Yeah.
like, "How do you do it? How does this?" I'm like, "I don't know. It just always happens."
It just happens, yeah. No. Yeah. Final thoughts. It's all about consistency, man. It's like more so I've brought up Alex Hormozy a bunch of times, but I think that he has a lot of good mental frameworks. And like one of the things that he talks about with like companies is like more, better, good. In that more, better, new, in that order. If something's broken or something's not working, ask yourself, can I do more? How can I do this better? Or should I do something new? Most of the times, you should just do something more. He follows the rule of 100s, 100 primary actions a day. If you can do 100 primary actions a day on whatever kind of realm of life that you're in over 100 days, you're going to be a completely different human. Even the attempt is going to make you a completely different human. Whether that's 100 flashcards for those who are like in school and studying, 100 minutes working on content and then making sure that you post something afterwards, 100 cold calls for folks in sales, 100 text messages to friends, family, or emails, right? Doing that consistently over a long period of time, you're going to outcompete, you're going to outperform the vast majority of people. And I think that like agency maxing is really where my thoughts are, where my spirit is right now. And I feel like the Cognisphere, I feel like SPX, um, I feel like all like aeons are on some level aligned on that for the goal of human flourishing. And that's it. Like I think if we hammer down on human flourishing as that's the point is to flip the stock market. What does that mean? How to express it to people through short form video, through long form video, through text, through in-person interactions and then be cognospheric. It's like it's literally only a matter of time because everybody else is focused on trading and like degeneracy. What? That's not, it's not, it's we're in a Hunger Games scenario. It's the top, the folks at the top are just trying to squeeze, just trying to squeeze.
Mhm.
And and they don't want you to coordinate. That's what they do not want you to do. So instead of getting divided and conquered, unite and build.
Yeah.
Unite and build. And if we do that, we're golden, like straight up.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. Unite and build. Because trench trading and all that, you're just bottom feeding, praying for a little
Yeah.
win here and there, and you'll end up losing it all because you're just gambling anyways, most likely.
Yeah.
So I think getting that message out is important. That's why I think a lot of it is true where people say crypto Twitter may not necessarily be our target audience. There may be some people who are open to it, but outside,
Right.
I think is probably where most people are
Reddit,
willing to
YouTube,
listen.
TikTok, IRL. That's where you'll get highest bang for your buck there.
Yep, exactly. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming on, man. I really do, and I look forward to more content from you. And I'm glad
Yes.
you're able to show off how smart you are. To be honest, you're you're very smart, dude, for real.
Hey, I appreciate being on, man. I like you are the Joe Rogan. You are the upcoming Joe Rogan.
The slow Rogan is what
Hey, you're the slow Rogan. Let's do it.
Always
But
cracks
this
me
was
up.
awesome. I have a lot of respect for you and what you're doing. You ask good questions, and I think that like people like you inspire folks like me, and so keep doing what you're doing, man. This is awesome.
Well, same goes for you with in the body and the fitness perspective too. So
Yeah,
it'll be good. And I
sounds
definitely I'll
good.
have to ask you to be on Into the Cogsphere too. I think it'd be fun there as well if you want to do that one day, the live show.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
I'll hit you up then. I'll leave a
Cool.
link to Abby's X account below. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, persist forever.